Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. We continue with Asa Mahalla Paila, and today we recite the 15th Sabad in this rag, composition of the first Nanak. The recitation. एक आवे एक जावे आई, एक हर राते रहे समाई, एक तरण गगन में ठौर न पावे, से कर्महीन हर नाम न त्यावे, गुर पूरे ते गत मित पाई, एह संसार बिखवत अत पाउ जल, गुर सबदी हर पार लंगाई रहाओ, जिन्हें को आप ले प्रभ मेल, तिनको काल न साके पील, गुरमुख निर्मल रहे प्यारे, ज्यों जल अम्बयू पर कमल निरारे, बुरा भला को किसनो कहिए, दिसे ब्रह्म गुरमुख सच लहिए, अकथ कथो गुरमति विचार, मिल गुर संगति पावो पार, सासत भेद सिमरत बहु भेद, 68 मज्जन हर रस रेद, गुरमुख निर्मल मैल न लागै, नानक हिरदै नाम वड्डे धुर भागै, गुरमुख निर्मल मैल न लागै, नानक हिरदै नाम वड्डे धुर भागै. The Guru is speaking about essentially the different types of people and compares and contrasts them. Ik ave, ik Javah Aai. Ik ave, ave to come. He says, there are those who come into this world, and these people, har rate rahe samai. Ik ave, ik har rate rahe samai. They're filled with love of the Har Self, and they find fulfillment. They become like the Har. Ik har rate rahe samai. And in contrast, there are those, ik Javah Aai, se karmheen har naam na tyave. So, ave jain. Then there are those who are bereft of vision, karamheen. Karam is grace, but it's also vision. So they lack the vision because they do not dwell on self-knowledge. Haranam na tyave. So you see, there are those who find fulfillment through love of the Har Self, and then there are those who don't have that vision, who are not engaged in that process. Har naam na tyave. So what happens is that the latter, the ones who are not engaged in this process, end up perpetuating a cycle of self-deception. Ik Javah Aai. It just keeps perpetuating itself. Ik taran gagan mein thaur na pai. So, the first kind of person is at home anywhere, but the others, no matter where they are, on the earth or the sky, they find no rest. Thaur na pave. Unfulfilled. So essentially, what Guruji is saying is that love is the basis for establishing a relationship with our inner self. Love. Ik har ratte rahe samay, har ratte. So the har, to be clear, to be sure, is an abstraction. It's the principle of creative potency, karta, that resides within us. So indeed, you will see that creativity is love. So love is the basis for establishing this relationship. But creativity has to be drawn out. And that requires vision, nadar or karam, nadar, grace, but to get that vision. And the vision comes from self-knowledge, which is naam. And naam comes to you through the channel of Gur Sabad, the teachings. So it is a process. And the Guru says that they who are engaged in this process are fortunate because they leave the world a better place. And those who are not engaged in this process remain restless and anxious. They remain unfulfilled. So here's the key to fulfillment in life. And that is the central message. The central message is Gur Pure Te Gat Mit Pai. Through that perfect wisdom of the Gur, knowledge, the light, it is through that perfect wisdom, Gat Mit Pai. Gat, one understands the path and one understands the way to walk on that path, how to traverse that path. Gur Pure Te Gat Mit Pai. So knowledge is the key, wisdom. And then the Guru explains, Eh sansar bikh vat ati paujal. So this world that we live in is compared to a poisonous ocean. Our conditioning is poisonous, noxious, toxic, because it is self-centered. Eh sansar bikh, bikh is poison, and ati paujal, very poisonous. It is the ocean of fear, if you will. But Gur Sabdi Haripar Langai, through knowledge, the Sabad, you can find the Har self, the inner self, that principle of creativity that we talked about, and be ferried across this ocean. In other words, knowledge is like the ship and the self is the pilot who knows how to navigate the ocean, how to navigate the ocean of our own conditioning, of the world. Love was the basis. Knowledge is the tool that we require, the navigating tool, you see. And then those who have found union with the self, Jinko aap lay prab mel, they are not troubled by the fear of death. Tinko kal na sake pel kal, the tyranny of time, which is always hanging over our head. They are relieved of that pain, that anxiety. And the beloved Gurmukh, Pyare, remains untouched by the vagaries of life. Gurmukh nirmal rahe. Nirmal is without impediment, without contamination, and the contamination is that of our own thoughts, of the world. So the Gurmukh remains unattached, unaffected, untouched, in the same way that the lotus remains fragrant and afloat above the stink of muddy waters. Jyo jal amb upar kamal nirare. So this is how a Gur-guided person navigates life. They connect with their essence, which in Gurbani is often, more often than not, represented as Har or Ram one's innermost essence. And this essence is qualitative. It is not a physical thing. And what it represents and symbolizes is one's innate capacities, innate talent, one's innate creativity, if you will. The animation, the animating force. So it is important to understand oneself in the light of one's essence, not in the light of the body. But there are layers upon layers of self-deception and conditioning, which we call haume in Gurbani, that have to be peeled away by the application of Guru wisdom before you can even get an inkling of self-knowledge. So a Gurmukh is one who apprentices himself or herself to Guru wisdom to achieve purity, to get clarity. You see, when the conditioning is peeled away, you get clarity. You awaken to what your purpose in life is. And that is the vision that we have talked about. And you retain this clarity by living like that lotus, untouched by your conditioning. So the Guru says, now, if you live like a Gurmukh, tell me, how can you possibly label anyone good or bad? Bura pala kah kisno kahiye. Why? Because the Creator has become visible to you in everything and everyone. Dise Brahm. Gurmukh sach lahiye. This has been understood, this truth. So the Guru says, Akat katho gurmat vichar mil gur sangat pavo par. Understand the unsayable, the akat, through Guru wisdom. The Guru is referring to intuition, to intuitive awareness. Akat katho, because that cannot be said in words. And through the fellowship of the Guru, cross over, meaning navigate life successfully. And in conclusion, the Guru talks about being a Gurmukh, being Gur guided. The wisdom of the Guru is what creates this purity of mind where the ego is not interfering. Gurmukh nirmal mail na lage. Mail, dirt, contamination of ego-centered thinking. And the Guru says, look, the Guru is the only source to Naam, to self-knowledge, not Sasat-ped, Simrat Bahuped. The Veds, the Vedas, the religious texts, Bahuped, have a lot of differences. They contain different thoughts. And then the idea of pilgrimage, Atsat Tirath, the 86 primary pilgrimages, a metaphor for traveling to pilgrimage and then to pilgrimage. The Guru says being awash in the love of the self is like bathing at the 86 pilgrimages. So what he is saying to you is that solid self-knowledge is a matter of turning inwards, not a matter of scripture reading, not a matter of pilgrimage going. That is how the Gurmukh becomes and remains pure, Gurmukh Nirmal. And Nanak declares in the end, Nanak Hirday Naam, he's actually speaking for himself, that in my heart, the essence of self-knowledge has bloomed. And that is a matter of great fortune, Vadil Torpagge, and he's inviting all of us to have the same experience. So the essence of all religion is to adopt the spiritual perspective to life, not necessarily a reading of texts or visiting pilgrimages or external rituals. This is not suggesting that you shouldn't bother going to a pilgrimage if you so desire, or that if you wish to read a religious text, The point being made is self-knowledge comes from within. So if going to a pilgrimage provokes self-knowledge within, then where's the problem? As long as you understand that, it doesn't matter where you are, Taranagagan, as he said, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you are engaged with yourself. So it is not a matter of just dropping reading or acquiring knowledge or going to a pilgrimage or going to a historic site. That's not the point. The point is, Hriday Naam, self-knowledge sprouts from within. So therefore, anything external that helps you in growing this knowledge within, there you are. On that note, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.